Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to do an update or part 2 to the story I covered last week, which is titled, While Wife Was Using Her Apple Watch to Facilitate Her Affair, Husband Was Secretly Planning Divorce. And a shout out to Junior for sending in this update here. And guys, as a recap, that's about the husband is with his wife for a few years now. I got the impression he's relatively young, maybe late 20s, early 30s. And thought he had a good marriage. And lo and behold, one day he was in the closet and found a hidden watch, an Apple Watch. And was able to figure out that she was using that to communicate with somebody, an affair partner, a doctor, because she's a doctor herself in the hospital, and having a full-fledged affair. He found out about it because he got saw on his phone bill something seemed not right, called the company and saw that she had this device on the phone bill, tracked it down to where it was, and was able to get all this information and dirt on her, and it ended with him being done with her. Well, here we are with actually 2 updates within one here, where very exciting developments with regards to the wife and what's going on. And you're going to see initially how she has a change in her behavior. And I suspected what was really going on, and maybe you will too. And even he was questioning things. But then he discovers what's going on, and our guy's done. So it continues. He says, I went back home today after my quote-unquote business trip, and I spent the whole drive mentally preparing myself, telling myself to stay cold, stay distant, and just play the part until Monday when I meet with a lawyer. But the second I walked through the door, the exhaustion and depression caught up with me. I tried as hard as humanly possible to act normal, but I must have failed miserably. Within 10 minutes, she looked at me and asked what was wrong, noticing immediately that I seemed incredibly sad and angry. I don't get how some of these guys, when they find these things out, and they're going to divorce their wives, and they're playing it cool, how some of them can function without, the confrontation, But a lot of times guys try to keep it under wraps, and their wives are not dumb. They know something's up right here. I panicked, but then I decided to use the moment to test her. I looked her in the eyes, and I lied. I told them my engineering firm is restructuring, that I'm highly likely to get made redundant, and I've already started looking for potential employers on the West Coast to secure our future. Uh-oh. In other words, I'm about to lose my job, honey. Let's see how she reacts. I wanted to gauge her reaction. I expected her to pull away, to make excuses about her hospital job, or to protect her proximity to the ER doctor. To my absolute shock, she didn't blink. She immediately became totally supportive. She hugged me, told me everything was going to be okay, and straight up said that she would follow me wherever I find employment. She pointed out that as a doctor, she can easily get a job anywhere in the country, so I should just focus on what's best for my career. I am completely spinning right now. Anyway, you would think that since she's in a full-fledged affair, and obviously in love with this doctor character, the last thing she'd want to do is move and all that, but she's acting like, I'll follow you anywhere. What's going on? Well, my immediate gut reaction, maybe yours is too, is that maybe things aren't going so well with her affair partner. This throws my entire theory out the window. If she was planning to leave me for him, she would have fought the idea of moving across the country. Combine this with the fact that she left her secret Apple Watch zipped up in the closet boot during her grueling back-to-back shifts this week, and a terrifying new theory is forming. If they broke up, or she realized she's making a massive mistake and decided to end it, completely abandoning the watch and intending to bury those 14 months of cheating in her grave forever. Remember, guys, for 14 months, he figured out this has been going on, and he had no clue. She was a master hiding it. Well, it's messing with my head so badly. I'm sitting here realizing that she might actually still love me. Smack! No, she doesn't. Something's going on, man. She might generally want to be with me and build a life with me. Smack! No, she's not. But how am I supposed to live with the knowledge of what she did? The data doesn't lie. 14 months of thousands of texts, calls, and photos with another man, while she told everyone at her hospital that she was single. She was willing to erase my existence at work, but now she's willing to erase his existence to stay with me, ? Look for the most simplest answer. Obviously, things aren't working out with her affair. Remember, guys, in the last video, he found out that his friends really helped him here. And his buddy's wife has a friend that is a nurse at the hospital and found out that she was telling everybody that they're divorced and separated. The sheer level of compartmentalization makes me feel sick. If she loved me, how could she do that to me for over a year? She doesn't love you. And if she's willing to carry a secret that masks to her grave, what else is she capable of hiding? Bingo. My friends are telling me to stick to the plan, and I will. They remind me that the betrayal's already done, and the person I thought I knew never really existed. If she was capable of this. But looking at her being so warm and supportive makes me want to scream and cry at the same time. Don't fall for it, dude. Obviously, the easy way out is just pretend everything didn't happen. Wrong. It'll happen again. I still have a meeting with the lawyer on Monday. I haven't canceled it, but tonight the air in this house feels completely toxic. And I don't know how I'm going to get through the whole week and pretend everything is fine while my heart is being torn into different places. F me. Yeah, it's going to be a long weekend. Now, that was obviously this past weekend. Today is Tuesday. But he had to get through it. And we're about to find out in a moment what was really going on, why she's suddenly just so loving and affectionate and willing to move across the country. But a couple of things he said before he gets on to the next part in the commentary. He says, I've already contacted a private investigator as suggested by someone in the DMs. He'll start tailing her on Monday morning on her way to work for another 48 hours. I don't know how he will do it, but I hope he'll go inside and talk to the staff and camp in their parking lot. The private investigator also promised to do a digital background check on this guy. He also says, I don't think she brought him to our house. My neighbors on both sides are your typical retired gossipers. They are also avid gardeners and are always outside tending to their garden. I always talk to them when I'm outside. Our garage entry is at the back of the house, and I have a camera there. The front has your regular Ring camera. I think she is just really good at compartmentalizing. She has a separate second life in that small city. That's the amazing thing. If it's a small city, things can get around quick, Well, now on to his final update that came in this morning. It says, I'm writing this with a level of cold clarity I didn't think I'd ever feel again. The despair has officially been replaced by absolute surgical resolve. My meeting with the divorce attorney yesterday went exactly as planned. Since I'm a civil engineer and she's a doctor, we have highly comparable stable incomes and completely separate bank accounts. Thank God they make comparable incomes and they have separate bank accounts. He also says we don't have kids. That's another big one. The attorney confirmed that under our state's no-fault laws, a judge does not care who slept with who anyway. Assets are simply split equally. Fucking crazy. The lawyer advised me not to do something crazy that would make her unemployed before the divorce is final. Yes, remember at the end of the last video when he was thinking about sending the email proof to her employer, the hospital, potentially getting her fired? And I was like, dude, no freaking way. You don't want her to lose her job because then that'll make things difficult with you with alimony, right? The lawyer's saying it. He is drafting the paperwork to divide our single joint asset, the savings account we built for our house, exactly 50-50 down the middle. Because of the mandatory 60-day waiting period in our state, the clock doesn't start ticking until she is formally served. The lawyer is preparing the summons and petition this week. We decided the cleanest route is to hire a professional process server to hand her the divorce papers directly at our house on the day when I'm not there. She then has 20 days to respond once served, and I'm not giving her a single day's heads up. Man, this is crazy. So I'm assuming he's going to pack up all his shit and get out of there before she, is served. Or, I don't know, is he going to stay there the whole time? That's going to be a miserable period of time. But the biggest update comes from the private investigator. Okay, here we're getting to the good stuff. I hired him, and he worked tirelessly the whole weekend digging the internet and tailing my wife today. So instead of him beginning his process on Monday, he already started over the weekend. That's good. Remember how I was losing my mind because she suddenly became ultra supportive, left her secret Apple Watch at home, and swore she'd follow me across the country if I lost my job. I thought it was because she secretly loved me and wanted to choose our marriage. No. I was completely wrong. It wasn't guilt, it was rejection. The private investigator discovered that 2 weeks ago, the arrogant Loverboy ER doctor dumped her. He moved on to a significantly younger nurse at their current rural hospital. Shocker. Couldn't happen to a nicer girl. On to a nurse. And what do you think he's going to do with that nurse when another nurse gets hired there? To make things even sweeter, the PI dug into his background and found out the real reason he left New York City a year and a half ago. He hadn't left to serve the rural folks and live a simple life. He was actually fired from that massive New York hospital group for, wait for it, sleeping with multiple subordinates on shift. Dr. Chad. She didn't choose me. She got replaced by her serial predator, who has a history of doing this wherever he goes. And she panicked. She realized her shiny new fantasy life was completely dead, so she scurried right back to her stable, safe engineer. Of course, that's what they do. I'll follow you anywhere, honey. Yeah, bullshit. Not if you're with Dr. Tyrone there. Well, the way I see it, if this hospital that hired him, if they knew he was fired from the previous one for his actions, that's possible they knew, and his actions caused this guy a divorce, I wonder if they have alienation of affection laws in his state. That's a good thing to ask his lawyer. He can not only go after this guy, but also potentially the hospital for hiring this asshole, knowing full well this guy's a history of this bullshit. She left a secret watch in the boot because her line of communication was cut from the other side. She's willing to carry that 14-month secret to her grave because I'm her safety net, and she desperately needs me to believe that she's loyal, supportive wife, so her entire life doesn't collapse. Well, too late. It's about to collapse real quick. So yeah, when I read the part earlier today, I knew darn well, no. She's not acting so nice and lovey-dovey, willing to travel across the country because... No, it's because something happened with her lover. That's how it usually works. The level of calculation makes my skin crawl. She is currently at work right now. She started a grueling 40-hour block of day and night shifts yesterday morning, running that rural hospital an hour away. She thinks I'm at home, safely tucked into the life she tries to destroy, waiting to be her backup plan. She has no idea that the paperwork is being finalized. She has no idea that I know she was the joke of her entire hospital staff. And she has no idea that the second the divorce is finalized, I'm transferring my engineering credentials, packing my bags, and moving to Nevada. I'm staying at my best friend's house again for the rest of her shift. I can't breathe the air in that house knowing she's only loving me because she was not able to grab her new branch securely. The trap is set. I will update you all the day she gets served. So we are at the beginnings of probably another long, multi-part good story here, like our bro that I know a lot of you guys have watched, My Wife of 7 Years, that one, where I'm like on episode 41 or whatever, 31, I can't remember anymore. This could be a long story, but we're just getting started. I can't wait to see what happens when she gets served. It ain't going to be pretty. But I'm sorry this is happening to this guy. It's terrible, I mean, he got married. They were saving for a house. Thank God they didn't buy the house. And thank God they didn't have kids together. And I like the fact that he's just done. And I'm glad he's listening to his lawyer, not destroying her job, her employment right now. I still say after the divorce is done, then he can send the information to the hospital getting her canned. And I'd like to know, again, about the laws about alienation of affection in his state. If that hospital knew that that doctor has a history of sleeping with employees, subordinates, and all that, they could be on the hook for some of that, as well as suing the doctor. You just never know. But anyhow, guys, let me know if you see any updates in the story before I do. It's definitely going to be a good one to follow. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you find a good story you want me to cover, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.